as the world catches on and, for lack of better words,
Steals.
starts jockeying and exploiting
Steals.
what we do,
Yeah.
how do we evolve and still
Beyonce.
push
Steals.
come on. How do we push the culture forward but still kind of pay homage to that stuff?
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on the Elation podcast today, where we enjoy exhilarating euphoria through creation and collaboration. We're here today with Nate Cameron. How you doing, bud?
What's up, man? I'm good, bro.
Good
Thanks
to
for
see
having
you.
me, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Happy-
I'm a fan. I've watched a couple episodes, so I'm excited to be here.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Happy holidays.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. I was just telling everybody it was a nice, restful one for me. We still had some folks doing some stuff, but I got the rest.
That's
so
awesome.
It was a good one.
That's awesome. Well, no rest for 2025 so far, huh?
It's rolling. It's rolling. I mean, we literally had something on New Year's Eve, so literally came into it doing an event. It's rolling and it's not gonna let up.
No, well, and now we're into these LA fires, man. Like,
yeah.
And I only bring it up truly because we're gonna be bringing up LA a little bit with the music scene later. But like, man, just it's just crazy. It's not gonna be the same. It's gonna be like Katrina for here. Like, it is going to be different.
Yeah, it's gonna be different. I mean, I have a buddy who is who's actually a part of a Global Warming Collective out there. Kind of does the West Coast stuff. We'll talk more about that. But he's coming home. He was in a spot in the Pacific Palisades.
Wow.
And he sent me a picture this morning, and that joint looked like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
The scene where everything just kind of just burned down. Yeah, it was very weird, and yeah, it definitely brought up some Katrina type emotions.
Absolutely.
In my gut when I was like, oh man, I didn't know, because it's similar. It's like I didn't know it was this bad.
Right. No, 100%.
Like I lived in Cali. I lived in Cali in the Bay Area and did a lot of business in LA. But I mean, I've driven past the fires going back and forth through the grapevine, so I knew that it's a regular thing. But yeah, I didn't know this one was like that.
But no, 100%. So I spent 9 years in LA.
Okay.
And a friend of mine who lives 4 blocks from where I used to live sent me a picture from his balcony looking at the fire. And like, so with my building underneath the picture, like
it hit home. Literally.
Yeah, because I was at 1600 and Vine the last 5 years out there.
I know exactly what you're doing.
So right, the W there.
Yep, yes sir.
So I was looking at the Capitol building and up at the, but all of that is threatened right now. And I mean, I don't know. I loved LA for what it did to me, me.
Yeah.
And to me, but what it did for me.
Yeah, same.
And, being from here, I was going back and forth. I was out there 9 years, but I was going back and forth visiting family. And the more and more I learned out there, the more and more I learned down here doesn't have it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man.
So I just felt, I finally got to a point in LA, I was like, all right, look, I've got enough connections. I know enough people.
Yeah.
I know I have enough knowledge now. Like, it's time for me to come home, build something that I can stamp as my own, but change the dynamics of something in a city that I love.
Yeah, and done your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And know from living, I mean, we have very similar journeys, because I learned a lot from living in Nashville, from living in the Bay Area, Cincinnati. Like, these are 3 places that musically I learned a lot, and it was always very much what you said. I'm coming home for holidays. I still have artists that I'm working with. When I started working with Tank and them, I was still living in Oakland. I was tour managing and production managing from there, coming back home, going on tour with them from there. But always like, man, I need to bring this home. Every time I learn something, the first thing that goes off in my head is I need to bring this home.
Right.
And so I mean, I think that there was just a void, and still is a void. But I'm encouraged because some of those voids are getting filled.
Well, guys like you and some other guys, and hopefully I'm a part of that whole movement as well. We're here investing in the city and trying to change the music culture.
Yes.
So let's tell a little bit about where you're from and the school we went to and all that stuff.
Yeah, man, all that good old standard New Orleans questions.
Absolutely.
From uptown New Orleans, from the 3rd Ward. Grew up mostly in the 3rd Ward. Went to Lusher, which is now Willow School. I went to Lusher back when it was just the elementary and a middle school. I was the first class to go from kindergarten to 8th grade when they first took over the middle school. Now it's a elementary, middle, and high.
Shout out Lusher. I used to play I used to play against y'all in basketball in grade school.
Come on, where'd you go?
St. Paul's Episcopal.
Yes, sir. sir. I was a rival. I was a flag football player, but we still used to play y'all in flag as well. Yeah. Stewart Hall. Shout out to Stewart Hall, St. George, St. Paul.
So, but funny enough, we always played well against y'all. And I don't know if it was because y'all were 2 feet taller than all of us.
Yeah, it was always
but especially basketball.
It was always
it was like we walked in, we were all normal size, and then we were all like, what are we doing here? And somehow we played well against y'all, and we always enjoyed those games.
That's what's up, man. Well, it wasn't my years. My football years, we was undefeated 3 years.
Okay, all right, well, good.
But I got to play. I played with guys who went to the NFL, so it wasn't me.
Yeah,
yeah, it wasn't me.
That's funny. Nah, no, but y'all had always had great.
No, man. Went to Lusher. I'm an Uptown kid. Went to Lusher. Parents got divorced, and so split my time between Uptown and Gentilly. At that point, went to St. Aug for high school because, like I said, Lusher didn't have the high school at that time.
Gotcha.
So, was a music kid, right? My mom, I was always in church, and so my mom had me heavily in church. My mom was active in church. My aunt was the secretary. I was literally in the church 3 days out the week.
Gotcha.
The other 3 days out the week, which is a very important balance, is my uncle owned a very popular club here called Club Whispers.
Okay.
And so shout out to my Uncle Randy. And so Club Whispers was the premier nightclub. Like Shaq was at LSU at the time. They would drive down and come be in there, like all that kind of vibe. I'd be in the back of there doing my homework the other 3 nights of the week. So it was either church or the club.
Gotcha.
So just seeing
Church
that,
or Whispers. Huh?
Listen. But it was, I saw Black entrepreneurship from a bunch of different perspectives, right? Because both of those were owned by Black folks that I were, close to and attached to, And so,
and both were collecting money.
And both were collecting money, right? and so because of my proximity to my uncle who had that club, this is also around the time with No Limit and Cash Money is popping up. And so seeing those guys very closely, seeing that turn from these cats who used to pull up on my uncle with cassette tapes and asking for a chance to perform or asking for a DJ to play something to being who they are now and seeing that happen in real time was also encouraging for me as somebody who wanted to learn music business. Like I was a singer, I sung in the church, still sing, still songwrite, still have some credit, still do stuff, but like that was my thing. I wanted to be a performer. I performed around the city, known as Suave. Like I have albums. Like a lot of folks don't know that. Those who know. But like, I was signed to Atlantic South when they had that whole thing with Juvenile and UTP, like serious artists, and was really learning a bunch of that stuff. But yeah, I just always saw in the back that there weren't a lot of folks that had the best intention of the artist in mind when it came down to being executives, when it came down to being manager. The people behind those curtains in the meetings, that they'd be like, oh, y'all can go have a smoke. Y'all can go chill. Right. But there's still a meeting talking about this project. Why can't we be in that meeting? So that always kind of made me think about it. And so it was just, and I had people like Juvenile who I was in close proximity to. Shout out to Juvie who took me under his wing. CO, some of those cats, like they saw I was serious about it. They let me come to show. Shout out to Raj Smooth. That's another one. When I was younger, Raj at this time was popping with the squad, popping with Wayne at the time, and he would just let me come sit to the studio, let me come bring his crates in the House of Blues for his weekly. So just the big homies doing stuff like that I don't know if they knew how impactful that was on just this little kid who was just a music nerd, but like that made me, pour more into what I wanted to do. So just grew up and did that, man. Went to Tennessee State, got a scholarship at Tennessee State, and I was in the band at St. Aug, got a scholarship for band and scholarship to go to Tennessee State, which is in Nashville. I played clarinet and baritone.
Okay.
Yep, played clarinet and baritone, went to TSU and did a choir scholarship. I got offered a band scholarship, speech and debate scholarship, and choir scholarship. I took the choir one because it was the easiest one, I thought. But here's the thing, though. Little did I know, I didn't read the fine print. It was a show choir.
Okay.
So I thought I was just coming up there like I was doing every Sunday, but I had to learn choreography. I had to get fit. I had to get the dance shoes, all the thing, right? But that just, again, just kind of...
Another level of teaching,
Just another level of teaching, another level of expanding my horizons. 100%. I learned a whole nother...
So your music scene started early then?
Super early, man. My dad was a security guard for Rick James.
Okay.
My mom and dad met at a Rick James concert.
Wow.
So I literally was and so I was born in and around it.
Wow.
Mom was on tour with him a little bit, with me in the belly, so... Literally, I was born into it.
Okay, gotcha.
And conceived around the music.
Gotcha.
But none of them were musicians. None of my folks. That was the anomaly. Like none of my parents, relatives, nobody in the immediate family can play an instrument, hold a note. I was just like this unicorn. But I think again that's because of what I was around in the womb.
Right, absolutely. Well, I feel like all of us could be, just like I feel like all humans at some point can be creative, but I feel like as we grow out of our childhood, we lose that part of it if we fit into a system. But if we take down those barricades before we get into a certain age, I feel like that's where you take off into to where you're at.
Listen, I had a mom who was super intentional about it, and I have a 12-year-old son. Like I try to do the same thing. But my mom was also a social worker. My mom was a MSW social worker, so my mom was very intentional about what I read, what I didn't read, what I consumed, what I didn't consume. And this is pre-iPad. We didn't have no iPads.
Right.
What I watched was what my mama saw me watch, and there was no taking the iPad to my bed and
100%. There were no commercials you got to watch.
Nah, wasn't that. You watching Murder, She Wrote with Mama and them.
Yep.
And Designing Women. You might get the show in every now and then.
Every now and then, Golden Girls.
But they knew what you were watching.
Yeah,
they knew
100%.
what you were consuming.
100%.
You feel me? So it's like that was So my mom was very intentional about that. Shout out to moms for really, because I see now why that matters. It was a pain in my ass back then, right? Because I wanted to watch what was popping, right? Def Comedy Jam is what was popping at the time, but it was raunchy and it was raw and it was offensive.
Yeah.
This is this young Christian black woman who's trying to instill this in this young black boy in the murder capital, mind you. We live in Uptown, right by the Callio Projects, which is literally the murder capital of the world at that time. And so all these factors, so I understand that now as a parent, but back then I'm like, man, come on.
They try to keep you away from it.
Let me go.
Yeah, well, so I understand, but my grandmother was the one who introduced me to the other side. My grandmother was like, you need to learn. And on top of that, she enjoyed Chris Rock's comedy tapes. My grandmother.
That's one of my favorites.
So Roll with the New and Bigger and Blacker, I think.
Come on.
But maybe I don't know. Maybe it was before Bigger and Blacker. But Roll with the New for sure. He was talking about the OJ jokes and all that stuff. So, but we had the cassette tape. And my grandmother was the only one that would let me go buy it. So we bought it and we played it in her car and we laughed the whole time. But so like it gave you game. Like, so mom tries to keep you away from stuff, grandma tried to give you game. And
that's all a part of it.
Yeah, that's a whole part of it.
Because you still got to consume it with a safety net.
100%.
She wasn't going to let you believe. And sometimes,
she would explain.
Exactly.
And make things, but all I do is every time she laugh, I laugh, it was pretty funny, man.
That's hilarious. My grandpa would do Red Fox. My mom hated that. My grandpa would play Red Fox.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Because I was like, wait, this Fred Sanford cussing like this?
Yeah.
I knew him from TV. My grandpa like, nah, that's toned down.
Yeah, that's toned down. That's funny, man.
Yeah, nah, man. That was all a part of my foundation.
It's funny how comedy and music are so linked, though.
Bro, I've been really, 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 really thinking about how to really bring those communities back, because I love comedy. Like,
how is there no comedy store in New Orleans or improv in New Orleans?
That's crazy to me, right? I mean, I've lived in Cincinnati, and they've been places like that, and they thrive.
West Palm Beach has an improv.
Yep.
What the hell are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know where that divide has come, because we've had some heavy hitters and still do to right now.
Oh, I know.
Have some heavy hitters of comics of all kinds of genres, not just
100%.
I don't know, but I've been wanting to figure out, because a lot of those are my friends.
And big comics come here. I mean, I just saw Jerry Seinfeld as the singer.
Yes.
They're
here.
I saw Chris. I saw Kevin Hart. We saw. Everybody comes. So why don't we have our own scene down here?
That's crazy. I don't know. There's got to be a reason why. I know that there's places that do it and that have popped up to do it, but I don't.
Maybe it's a business thing, just like the music, man. Maybe it's a business thing, because even going back to the music business stuff, like I've talked to people from Nashville that go to Nashville all the time and hire session musicians and do things, and the reason why they don't come here to do it is because even session musicians don't take the business seriously.
Yep.
That they book a session and the artist and the musician shows up 2 hours later, there's no business there.
Yeah.
Like Nashville's taking like a 9-to-5 job.
Oh yeah, it's a 9-to-5. It's a 9-to-5 job, and
let's say 9 to 9. Let's say 9 to 9.
Right?
That's a 9 to 9 job.
But the value, I think, right? That's the difference I've seen between my Nashville session musician buddies and my folks here that do that, right? Is that I think they see, and there's a lot of different reasons for that. Like systematically, there's a lot of different reasons, but like they see the value of themselves, right? Also, a bunch of those people there are part of like a union or like some kind of association that empowers them
and makes them feel like it's a business.
Exactly.
You know, and unfortunately, yeah, like the bass player that's been playing bass for 30 years that is a crazy musician, probably could outplay 99% of the people in the world, but could barely get $50 to go do a session.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to think of it as a business.
Yeah. You know, I just think
in those
that
moments
we got caught up in the music industry shifting, right? The music industry changes, the entertainment industry changes so much. And I think that we come from a place where we are known for and we're empowered for doing music as it is, right? Second line bands are as is. Right now, of course, when we're doing a traditional second line, they're dressing up, they're looking nice, like, but it's pretty much we're working with what we got sort of kind of vibe, and we're making this beautiful thing out of it, right? And that's still beauty in that. There's still greatness in that, but like the world has evolved, like we have evolved as a people, as a culture. So it's like, what more do we have to give to people? And the world has moved. Like there's a lot of people. Brass bands aren't unique to here anymore. Right? There's brass bands winning Grammys in other places, countries, cities. And so as the world catches on and, for lack of better words, starts jockeying and exploiting what we do, how do we evolve and still push come on. How do we push the culture forward but still kind of pay homage to that stuff? Like how do we have ideas like the Flag Boy is, where like, yes, we're doing traditional, but we also are implementing hip hop. You know, the Bo Dallas is traditional Indian, but also implementing some R&B and blues. Like, how are we doing ideas like that are like pushing it forward? Because if not, then it's just gonna get stale.
Where's our Afrobeat? That's what like.
Come on, man.
Where's our Afrobeat?
Come on, man. I know V Script is doing some real cool stuff in that realm now.
I know he did it all here for the most part. He recorded all that stuff here.
That's needed.
Yeah, it is needed. I agree.
It's needed, man. And it's culturally, historically, it's like duh.
Right.
This is where all of that kind of meshed in a lot of different ways. Those cultures, you know, a lot of them stepped foot for the first time.
100%. We are the gumbo pot of America because you know. To me, so my heritage goes back to the Pirates.
Okay.
So Nat Chickazola, who was Gene Lafitte, the Pirates' first mate, is my great uncle.
Come on.
So, yeah. So when you think about how New Orleans was, you know, we were a pirate city. We were a way to get away from the law.
Yes, sir.
That's what we were. You would come up the river and come to New Orleans, and no one's gonna find you.
This is where the people who were ducking off came.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and I still feel like it's been that way forever. Like we were just talking about it. Like the Big Easy is we are the real adult Disney World.
Yeah, man.
Like Vegas is the corporate one.
Of course.
We're the one if you want to do some dirt, you come down here, we don't tell, no one finds out, and you go home.
That's how
hopefully with no diseases.
That's what we're known for. That's what we're known for.
And it just disappears.
Yeah, man.
And so, but I don't know. I feel like at some point we have to get out of the Big Easy.
Yeah.
And we have to understand that the world moves with money.
Yes.
And if we aren't identifying with that movement, we're not going to be taken seriously in any real culture. And I
that's what's been happening.
Yeah.
The world's been moving on, and we've been kind of slowly, we've been progressing, but it's, you know, at our own little nice jazz pace, you know.
But if we would have had my biggest, and I'm really close to both guys. So, you know, Juvie and I at camp, we're close, but I'm really close with the No Limit guys too, all of them really.
Yeah.
And we're all family, love everybody.
Yeah.
But the thing that would have progressed all of this is one of those labels staying here.
Yeah.
At least a presence.
Yeah.
A building with a name on it, with someone at the front desk, and a couple A&Rs and a marketing person would have changed the dynamics of our music culture forever.
It would have, and it wouldn't have had to do much.
No.
Right? I mean, a lot of these labels that I grew up, I was a label head, especially here in New Orleans, the Take 4 Records, all these people, like a lot of these Full Pack Records, like I don't know if a lot of them had headquarters, right? I know like they'd work out of certain studios, but I don't know if there was a label building, right? I do remember at some point, Chopper City, BG's record label, had an office out here, out here in Metairie somewhere, because I remember coming to it and doing a session. But that's like, to me, that was memorable. I never remember walking into a label in New Orleans. So when that happened, I was like, whoa, and had the sign, just like you said, there was a sign outside. You know, Mano is in the lobby. Like, just stuff like that. We don't like, so just the one studio that we had here, I had that opportunity. Met Mano, connected with Mano, still have a relationship. So like, even stuff like that, 100%. Like that's how important. So if we had more,
100%,
that could happen more.
100%. I one of the biggest days of my life, I got called into a session in LA, and I got called to go to it, and I was like, oh man, I don't know, I got something else to do. He's like, no. Come to this session, and and it's one of the ones that, like, when you hear that, you're like, okay. So you show up at the session, and it's Usher and Mark Pitts, and they're creating and picking songs for the new album, and you're now sitting in the session because you got a phone call. Like, that doesn't happen here.
No.
Because if they are doing work here, there's no phone calls being made. There's nobody networking, doing things. It is a closed session. Nobody's coming into this. You know, so like that type of
that matters.
100%.
That's what builds infrastructure.
Yes.
Those are the kind of places and spaces like what you created that allow people to have the conversations and connections that build infrastructure. Because guess what? All the other times I'm seeing my manager friends, my label friends are at one of my artist shows, and I've got a million things going on. And I'm talking to the tour manager, I'm making sure they're good. So it's not the time for me to build with you and figure out when we can collab on something. Like, there's just not space.
No, it's those random moments. You know, it's those random moments. And again, in LA, those random moments at the W where you're sitting there having coffee and Ludacris is next to you at the camp, and you know somebody in his camp, and the next thing you know, you're sitting with all of them talking about all kinds of crap. And you're like, wait a minute.
Now that facial recognition, which I learned 100%. In Cali, I didn't know that. Now, because it's a different.
It's real.
We on handshake,
but you lose
here.
it when you take a picture.
Exactly. And I learned that too.
You lose it when you take a picture.
I learned that too. You gotta be cool.
Yeah, I'm with that. Cool. I'm that way with Snoop.
Yeah, see that facial recognition.
He knows exactly who I am.
Yeah,
he knows what's up. And he and I have never taken a picture.
But you probably could if you wanted to.
100%. 100%. But
yeah,
but that dynamic changes.
Exactly.
You know, the dynamic changes.
It does. That's a good point.
And I've actually been asked to go into a picture, and I didn't. I think for me, it's like I have to treat myself like I'm going to be here again.
I like that. Like this ain't no anomaly.
Absolutely not. This is just the new, this is just a part of my network.
That's right. And look, and that's what my mom would always tell me. You supposed to be in those rooms. You're supposed to be there. Like don't walk in there like you. So same thing. You supposed to be there. You're
supposed to be here.
You know, on time. Yeah.
Every time I see Snoop now, what's up, nephew? You know, that's it. That's what it is. And that's all that's all I need.
That's important.
100%. Because it gives me the inspiration. I don't need the social part of the inspiration.
Same, man.
I need the real inspiration.
Same. Exactly. That connection, that currency of knowing that there's just a connection there. Yeah. And if you have something that you know that you can plug him in and it can be a good fit, you know that
100%.
You don't feel awkward.
100% not. Absolutely not. He's going to see me and be like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, 100%. But let's talk about global warming and some of the stuff you're doing down here, man.
The gang. Yeah, man. So, yeah, bro, global warming. I mean, again, bro, listening to you tell your story and your journey, it's very similar to mine because, like, I went to school in that. I left here from St. Aug, went to school in Nashville. Nashville opened up my eyes completely to the music business.
Right.
I had mentors and neighbors and teachers that had written one song and that were clocking $75,000-$100,000 checks a year. Right. I'm like, what? You did what? You know, one of my mentors, shout out to Mr. Mark Crawford, like one of my mentors wrote a song for the group Alabama. I had no idea who that was, right? At that time, I don't know, I think it's been surpassed now. At that time, they had the highest selling record of all time.
Right.
My mentor wrote like a half a verse on that album. and was and so he would show me his check, not to stunt,
Right.
but just because he took me under his wing, like he knew what I wanted to do.
Right.
You know, he knew I came from a place that
lunchbox money,
mailbox money. I knew nothing about that. He knew that I came from a place that was heavily performance laden. You know, and so him showing me that was hella inspiration. I met other people, you know, in Nashville doing the same thing. And so, so my thing was always, how do I bring back, again, how can I bring back, you know, some of these tools to be, you know, we've been called an unlabel just because, like, you know, we do put out artist music, but it's not about profiting strictly off of earning from their music, right? It's about artist development even more so, right? So we're encouraging our artists to start businesses, right? We're sending our artists to business development workshops so that they have their LLC, so their businesses in order so that they can play the game when it comes time, right? When opportunities are there, when the tables is there, they can step up and be ready, right? So that's kind of more what we wanted to do. So at the time, still on the management team with Tank and the Bangers, we were on tour with Frida, and after that tour, we went on a tour with Pell. Pell was our opener on that tour, and so that's when I've been a fan of Pell forever, but we had never locked in until that tour. And so we would often talk and kind of hang out after me, him, and Juan with our other co-founders. Like we would hang out after the shows and just talk about what was missing in the scene. We had all these dope friends. We'd be bringing our friends' music to yo, check out my homeboy, so check. And it's like all these dope artists. Like, why are we not getting a buzz? And we're seeing all these cities and these indie scenes pop up around us, right? I was living in Atlanta for a little bit, right? That was right around the time where that scene popped with the Shorty Lows and the D4Ls. And so I'm seeing, and in the middle of all these scenes, right? My time in Nashville was Cyrus, Miley Cyrus at the time. Yeah. It's kind of popping, right? Billy Ray Cyrus is huge. Miley's kind of on the come up. Right. And so like seeing those people in their very start and then becoming the mega, super inspiring. And it was like, and I got to see the inner workings of that. So it was like, how do I bring that home?
You realize it's a lot more work than people realize.
A lot more work and a lot more jobs though, David. That was the other thing I noticed is the industry. Y'all, they tried to make me believe like these people were at their house making a song. They send it to a label. You blow up. You go on tour. You skip all these jobs and entities and things that are essential to making it happen. And testing, right? And so I nerded out. I wanted to know what a rigger was. I wanted to know what a production manager. What do all of these people do? Who's the person behind the camera? Who's the person that just holds the mic that hangs over the head? Like, and so I was reading at the time. I also came up in a time that like the internet was just starting to kind of spread its wings. So that was a privilege to just kind of learn that. But man, me and Pell just were like, how do we figure out how do we make something where we can put, you know, the artists that are up and coming on a platform where they can be heard, right? We don't want to own their stuff. We do realize that business is business, so we do want to get a percentage to make sure that we can pay the bills and do what we need to do. But like, how do we elevate them in a way that they can be heard and seen and help them to elevate their business game as well, right? And so the idea we had was like, look, the first iteration was we have all of these different leaders in the scene right now who, between Pell and I, are personal friends. We're from PJ to Trombone Shorty. Obviously, I'm working with Tank. We grew up together. You know, all these John Baptiste, all these powerhouses of artists from here, and they're all working with each other. They're all also individually in their own ways, like helping to pull up artists. And so we're like, everybody's doing that individually. And not saying other artists weren't, but that's just who I was in proximity with. All these artists these are all artists who also have Grammys at this time, right? They're not just New Orleans famous, but they're all trying to figure out how do they help. And so how do we collectively do something? So me and Pell were like, look, what if we did, you know, these albums and projects that were led by some of these more known artists, and then it was featuring producers from New Orleans. It was featuring engineers from New Orleans, artists from New Orleans, writers from New Orleans, through and through. PR, everything recorded here. We just want to be able to say everything was done here, centered here, right? And so that was the idea, and Pell was going to be the initial first artist to launch that, right?
Gotcha.
And so that was the idea. That's where Global Warming Volume 1, look, and I'm glad you said that. I brought you a volume.
Oh, awesome, this is yours, man. Thanks, man.
That's where Volume 1.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. That's where Volume 1 came from.
And I have a vinyl player, so this is awesome.
Put it to use, man. So that's 25 different New Orleans artists. That's 17 different New Orleans producers. probably about 18 different New Orleans writers, and everything from the art to the photography, everything was New Orleans through and through,
Awesome, man.
everything we did. We got a deal with Ingrews at the time. Shout out to Ingrews. So they helped us to distribute it. Got some major PR love. Complex premiered. Like it exceeded. We were just trying to do a project to test that method and try to see, how does that work? How do we spin from that? It grew wheels, and we were like, okay, this needs to become a business. This needs to be a thing that we can, have a foundation from, and then we can have other things. And so that was essentially how that started.
Awesome,
once we did that album, it was during COVID, so that was the advantage. Weirdly enough, the COVID advantage at that time was that while we were working on that album, everybody was home.
Yeah,
this was mostly artists who were on tour all the time.
Studio work was easy.
Listen, these are artists, including myself. We're normally gone, and so it's hard to be like hopping on the homie song like that. Sounds like he's brushing you off, but really, like, that's tough to stop and get in the studio. And on the road, you're paying for it,
right?
And so yeah, that was, everybody was home, and so we were able to have folks record. Folks that didn't, we were able to create some safe bubbles at my studios and some other locations, and so yeah, man, and was able to just kind of do a real compilation. I grew up in a compilation era, the Rough Rider compilation,
man,
the Cash Money compilation, the West Coast Bad Boys No Limit. Everybody had a good compilation. Violator, Def Jam, and so I was like, and that was, to me, that was always a dope way to find all these different kind of art. I like different kind of stuff. So so I wanted to present something like that, but with a modern twist, but in hella New Orleans,
and the mixtapes.
Yes, sir.
The mixtapes were all part of the compilation. I mean, the dedication.
Come on.
Was still top. I haven't found one that beat it yet. I still haven't found one that beat it.
Classic.
But like those are the energy, bro. And like DJ Khaled captured that, like that type of thing. That the energy of bringing together a collective of people all working toward one movement, one goal. And you put it into an album, and people feel the energy.
Yeah.
And so,
to me, that's a very New Orleans thing.
It is.
We do that in a lot of different spaces, 100%. from Social Aid and Pleasure Clubs, to Mardi Gras Cruise,
to food.
We have festivals. A festival ain't nothing but a bunch of different people bringing their own specialty.
A gumbo is one pot feeding a bunch of people.
Yes, sir. Straight up. But a bunch of different ingredients.
And a bunch of different ingredients.
Each ingredient
is
essential.
And a bunch of different ethnicities love it.
Straight up, bro.
Straight
up, man.
So we gotta cook that gumbo for the rest of the world, man, and show them that we're serious about the music business.
Yeah, it's been happening, man. I've seen the strides, man. It's better than it was 10 years ago. It's better than it was 5 years ago. I see the progress. I still think we need to hold ourselves accountable to push it even more. There's more, and we haven't gotten to where we need to get, but it's getting better. Again, there are people like you that are creating these spaces that are even allowing people to envision and see what's possible. I was fortunate enough to be a tour manager, so I've been in studios all over the world. I've been able to see, you can put a studio here. Wait, you can do this. My dad would always say, you got to see it to be it. Like 100%. The more I get older, I'm like, damn, that makes sense.
100%. Well, my goal was definitely to build a place that they could easily look at this place as an artist and go, man, I can use it this many ways, but not leave, then not have to pay for more time. Like, if I can save money, do it faster, and leave with a full product and promotion for the month, like it's gonna make things streamlined. So that was the goal, man. Do you think you have a favorite artist from the programming that have come up from the helping and nurturing that you've done to the culture down here?
A favorite, like a favorite young. So right now, I have a lot of. Let me see. All right, we're gonna do it like this. I'll do one singer and one rapper. All right. So I love all of my folks right now. I support them all. Like, one that's really doing some really cool things right now that came through my program with the Trombone Shorty program is Nas Got Next.
Okay.
I don't know if you know Nas. Nas is super dope, young, talented, hungry kid, wanted to learn the industry, went through our program with the Trombone Shorty program, which was really just 8 months of artist development, music development, and career development, where they learn the game. We help them get their business, and we help them to work on whatever it is. Whether if they want to do the business side of things, we give them some on-site, teaching, some on-site places. If they want to be an artist like Nas, we'll help them in the studio. We'll help them to get a project together, hook them up with producers. And so Nas has a song that is taken off that we've helped him with, and so he's one of the newer ones. So I'm excited to see where he's going. He's got Rifle 9 on the project. He got Jizzle on the project.
Nice.
This is all from him and his learnings and taking it and taking some of the stuff that we were telling him and doing it. Initiative. Initiative, listening and applying. Because it's one thing to listen, but then like how do you apply it and make that work to what you're doing? 100%. So he's to me he's done that well. So shout out to Nas Got Next. And then I would say singer wise, is probably my young homegirl Jade Santrell. She's coming up next. She's dope. Y'all go look her up. Jade Santrell. Jade is super dope. Is a band leader, plays multiple instruments, is a songwriter, is a producer, is an engineer. Hella dope. Just graduated from Dillard. She's awesome. From here, from the West Bank. Yeah, real deal, bro. And I'm just trying to nurture. Awesome. I'm just trying to be for them, honestly, what I didn't have.
Right.
What I had to go to Nashville to get. Which I was blessed to and privileged to have parents who believed in me and pushed me to those places. But I didn't get those things until I went to the New Yorks and the Nashvilles and the LAs.
Yep.
Right. And 100%. So I'm trying to be that or help to cultivate that for some of those folks. But like, well, yeah, I love all of my folks, man, including the kids that we're working with now. So yeah, we got to get them over.
Listen, I'd love to help in any way. Let's get it together and let's do something together for sure.
Definitely, man. Thank you.
What here, at the end of the conversation, I like to ask everybody what brings elation to you in your life? Elation I define as peak happiness.
Yeah, elate. Ooh. I am a connector and a provider, David. I've had to lean into that. I ain't like that all the time saying that, right? Like I something about that, but that's who I am. I get joy. I get, elation. I get a thrill out of connecting things, right? Connecting people, connecting situations, connecting entities, industries, particularly for things that are moving something forward. Right. And so because of my travel, because I've been in different kind of industries, because of just, again, like that always goes back to that church and club whispers balance, because I had that balance of like 1 foot in the street and 1 foot in the church. I know a bunch of different people, and
balance a lot.
Always trying to figure out how to get those kind of worlds to collide and work together. Like how do we get the homie on the corner that's slinging that wants to do a clothing giveaway to the young homies linked with the church that wants to do the same thing, but like so like again, I was always just one of them kind of people. So like I'm just leaning more into, I love connecting people. I love providing resource for like marginalized communities and like those that didn't have that opportunity, because my parents, for lack of better words, my parents and my community and my aunts, all of them, they bust their ass to give that to me. Right. And so I feel like I have to. And even the people like the Rod Smooths and the Juvies, like I say, who I was younger and didn't have to, but took me up under their wings. Like I feel like I owe it to them and what they poured into me to pour into somebody else.
And at times I feel like I owe it to music.
Straight up. And to the city.
Yeah, to the city and we to deserve music itself, 100%.
We deserve it. When I'm recording in the Capitol, when we recording in the Capitol building down there in LA, like what you were just talking about, I'm in that studio and I'm seeing all these plaques and all of these iconic things. I'm like, you know what? We deserve to have this too.
When I'm at record plant and they got the tape decks behind me that the Beatles were recording on, it's a different feeling.
It is, man.
It's a different feeling. But you got to project that. And you got to tell people that it's not hard to get there. You just got to keep working.
It is.
And it's an option for you. As long as they know that, most of the time they keep working.
Yeah, man. And that's what's been happening. So we just got to keep chipping away at it. It's happening. The things are going. We just got to keep at their neck on all of the fronts. And again, I love that we're in this space, much like I talked about all those different artists that we worked with that are leaders that are all pulling folks up. I feel like there are a lot of folks that are on the executive side that are on the same page, that are tapping in with other people, that are seeing and supporting what other people are doing. Like that was not a thing here 15, 20 years ago.
No,
very siloed, very what you're doing over there is what you're doing over there. Or you're doing it uptown, I'm doing it downtown. Yeah. It's not the same thing.
That's why there were two labels that were able to blow at the same time for the most part.
Uptown. Same area of town.
Right. But completely two different systems.
Yeah.
So
right down from each other.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But well, listen, I appreciate you. Any socials you want to tell people where to find you, where to find your collectives?
Yeah, I'm at so my personal social is at Suave is here, SUAVEISHERE. Global Warming is at GLBL WRMNG 504. So it's Global Warming without the vowels. Yeah, man, come just check us out, man. Trombone Shorty is at Shorty Foundation. And the other nonprofit that I work with, Our Voice Nuestra Voz, is at Our Voice Nuestra Voz. I'm sure y'all will we'll put them up and all that good stuff.
Awesome.
But
Absolutely, man.
yeah,
Absolutely.
man.
Well, let's get you guys more involved here, and let's do some things
Definitely,
together.
bro.
And I
Please.
appreciate what you're doing to the city.
Likewise.
And what you're doing to the culture, and we need more people like you.
We're gonna do it, man. I'm trying to help build them up.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us today on the Elation podcast, and please like it, follow, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thanks.